Good afternoon, everyone. Thank you so much for joining. My name is Amani Reed. I am the Policy Engagement Manager for Pennsylvania Interfaith Power and Lights, and we are congregations and faith-based organizations and leaders across the state tackling and advocating for climate change through things like creation care, advocacy, and more recently this month, we are hosting a bike and hike trip. It's started May 1st, and we have congregations throughout the state that are basically taking bike rides with groups from Philadelphia to Scranton to Lancaster, Central PA, Pittsburgh. We have people all around taking this amazing journey. And as part of our bike and hike trip, journey towards a cleaner future, we are setting up and have set up these advocacy days of action. Yesterday was a training where we talk about story sharing when meeting legislators, as well as just like being in conversation about climate with people that you know. And we also discussed sign-ons and petitions and ways we can take action. And we'll have that information going out to everyone as well yesterday as well as today with this recording. And I wanted to start us off with remarks from State Representative Donna Bullock, who is in the 195th district of Philadelphia, and she could not be here today, but she wanted to leave us with a message.
Good day. I am State Representative Donna Bullock, and I represent the 195th Legislative District here in North Philadelphia. I also have the honor of chairing the Pennsylvania Legislative Black Caucus. I apologize for not joining you today, but I am sure you are in good hands with my colleagues from the General Assembly. Last year, members of the Pennsylvania Legislative Black Caucus introduced two legislative packages that I think are quite relevant to today's conversation. The first package, the Environmental Justice Legislative Package, and the second included a number of bills to address how we legislate equity in the Commonwealth, including a health equity bill. Together, these legislative packages meet at an intersection that we know all too well, because we know that the environment significantly impacts our health, and that climate change can exacerbate health inequities that we have acknowledged over the last few years during a pandemic, and that many of us have known well before a pandemic. Our climate contributes to a host of health concerns, from lack of access to clean water, to increased allergens in our air, to respiratory illnesses, to poor building conditions or health-induced illnesses, to even infectious diseases. One's environment is a significant determinant of one's health. And at the same time, the inequities in our healthcare system, the inequities in the distribution of resources further underscore how interconnected climate change is to overall public health. And while neither can discriminate, a pandemic and climate change or climate-related disasters disproportionately impact the most vulnerable communities. During the pandemic, we witnessed how woefully unprepared and how inequitable our healthcare systems really are when it comes to public health or to any public health crisis, let alone in the aftermath of a major climate-related disaster. We've seen how unprepared and inequitable FEMA's response can be hurricane after hurricane in communities of color, in low-income communities, and tornadoes after tornadoes in those same rural, low-income communities. We've seen it during the deep freeze in Texas. We've seen it during the hot months here in Philadelphia. Folks who lack access to affordable utilities or sustainable housing, or a job that is not exposing them to health hazards and environmental hazards, these communities often lack the basic infrastructure of a local doctor or health center, the basic infrastructure of stormwater management, or even something as simple as trees, shade. And even gun violence has shown to be both a public health and environmental justice issue. It is for these reasons that the Black Caucus continues to work with all of our communities across the Commonwealth. We understand that Black and Brown communities have been on the front lines of both the climate crisis and nearly every public health crisis. These climate-related incidents and public health crises demand that we as legislators equitably invest in affordable weatherization programs, in community solar, in climate-resilient infrastructure. They demand that we also invest in equitable and accessible healthcare, in healthy housing, in healthy schools, and health centers in every community, and in telehealth opportunities in those communities that can't have a health center. It demands that we have a just and equitable response to all of these crises. And for once, we have the resources and dollars here in the Commonwealth to make those investments. We have a surplus, billions of dollars in surplus that we can invest in healthy communities, that we can invest in healthy and resilient infrastructure, that we can invest in communities and people here in the Commonwealth. That is why the Pennsylvania Legislative Black Caucus and I will continue to advocate for healthcare equity, environmental justice, climate resiliency, economic justice, and racial justice and equity, because they are all interdependent. They all cause each other and rely on each other. These very injustices can be righted if we invest in equity itself, if we invest in justice itself. So as the chair of the Black Caucus and as a Pennsylvanian, I look forward to our continued partnership with advocates and organizations and folks just like you. We need to move forward equitable legislation. We need to move forward legislation that addresses environmental justice and policies that will get us closer to a more equitable and just healthcare system, a more equitable and just society right here in the Commonwealth. So again, thank you for this invitation, and I hope that today's conversation is fruitful and that you're able to move forward from this conversation equipped with the knowledge and skills to be more effective in your communities, to be more effective as environmental justice advocates, to be more effective as healthcare equity advocates.
Okay.
Thank you again.
And we thank Representative Bullock always for her support. I'm going to go to the next slide. And just so you know, I turned my video off for technical reasons, so I'll just stay off. I now, and that's great because I have now have a video up for you guys on sustainable health and development. That's what we're focused on for this bike and hike trip, and specifically for this Advocacy Day. And also thank you for those that are joining and just joined. Thank you so much. And I'm just going to start this video now. It's a few remarks on sustainable health and development, especially things that are going on in the city that Pennsylvania Interfaith Power and Light is very much supporting. Good afternoon. Sustainable health and development is vital for the state of Pennsylvania and for the planet as a whole. Specifically, Pennsylvania has the second worst disparities in the country in the levels of pollution endured by lower income and minority neighborhoods that are disproportionately impacted, and that's compared to higher income or white neighborhoods. Black children throughout Philadelphia experience the majority of about 12,000 asthma attacks that occur throughout the city or more each year. Philadelphia is also among the most polluted cities in the Commonwealth. The city registers elevated levels of air pollution nearly 1 in 10 days. Historically redlining concentrated Black and immigrant communities in industrial neighborhoods are also facing burdens, and these neighborhoods are placed in higher levels of pollution and are at higher risk of unexpected hazardous accidents. Within this conversation, Pennsylvania Interfaith Power and Light is promoting climate justice and environmental justice initiatives for these disproportionately impacted communities. More recently, Pennsylvania Interfaith Power and Light supports Councilmember Helen Gim's Community Health Act. And on February 2nd, the Community Health Act was announced. And this protects our health of communities most at risk and make sure that the city considers the true impact of pollution when issuing permits, which would make Philadelphia, the city, a national leader in bringing environmental justice considerations directly into city policy. Just some more background on the Community Health Act. This will map and identify environmental justice communities. The city's Department of Public Health will map and identify environmental communities in these areas that experience excessive exposure to pollution and bear an undue burden of negative health effects, using the best available data on climate, environmental health, and demographic indicators. It would also look at pollution in context once these maps and areas are established. Sorry, everyone. Good afternoon. Required as a condition of approval or impose further restrictions as needed to protect community health. And it will also center community voices. The most impacted by pollution, as we know, have a right to be informed, and they should have a voice in decisions that affect their lives and communities. Public engagement in the city's new Environmental Justice Advisory Commission will play an important and integral role in guiding and informing the implementation of this legislation. Pennsylvania Interfaith Power and Light also supports Senator Nikhil Sabal's Home Repairs Act. The Whole Home Repairs Act, Senate Bill 1135, is a bipartisan bill. It creates a one-stop shop for home repairs, weatherization programs, while also building our workforce, which we so very much need, and creating family-sustaining jobs and also sustainable homes. It's the first bill of its own in the nation, and it's being supported by many in our Commonwealth. And other states are even looking at our home repairs as an example of something that they can do. So it's really an amazing thing, and we're so happy to have him join us as well.
I'm going to stop it there because I apologize. I didn't know where it got cut off. And I just want to move things along. I apologize. I want to now show a video from Councilmember Derek Green. He also could not join us today, and he has recorded this video in lieu of that. So I'm going to start that up now.
Hi, this is Councilmember at Large Derek Green. I want to thank the Pennsylvania Interfaith Power and Light for allowing me this opportunity to send you this video to support the work that you're doing regarding your Advocacy Action Days. More than ever, we need to make sure that people of all faiths understand the issue that climate change is doing in our local communities right here in the city of Philadelphia and around the Commonwealth of Pennsylvania. As past president of the Pennsylvania Municipal League, we've seen major issues of flooding impacting Pennsylvania. And so we've been trying to address those issues and had conversations with the federal government about what we can do in localities around the Commonwealth of Pennsylvania, as well as here in Philadelphia, to address all of the flooding that's happening in Pennsylvania, which has become a very significant issue. And when you look at what happened with Hurricane Ida and the remnants of Hurricane Ida, made Philadelphia, in fact, Vine Street, a river. And we got emails and calls, and I've received information from people all around the country concerned about what happened on the Vine Street way. And that was tied to the remnants of Hurricane Ida and really gives us a perspective of the issues of climate change and how it's impacting our daily lives in so many ways. So the work and advocacy that you're doing in the General Assembly is so important. I'm part of the Clean Job for PA Coalition, which is supporting Reggie. And it's important that we support Reggie to do all that we can in the Commonwealth of Pennsylvania and get more members of the General Assembly to support this initiative like so many states have done around this nation. I also chair the Philadelphia Gas Commission, and we are trying to move PGW into a fossil-free future. PGW started as a lighting company and transition into a heating company. And we'll make another transition beyond fossil fuels. And so one of the things that we've done at PGW is that we've had a diversification study, and now that we've completed the diversification study and have had hearings regarding that issue in City Council, we're now looking at funding, especially in our PGW budget process, to help do a geothermal pilot in the city of Philadelphia through PGW. We've also looked at opportunities through the federal bipartisan infrastructure law, or the Infrastructure Investment and Jobs Act to see how we can bring additional capital dollars to the city of Philadelphia, and more specifically, Philadelphia Gas Works, on how we can move beyond fossil fuels and into a fossil-free future here in the city of Philadelphia. Finally, I've done a lot of work with the Philadelphia Energy Authority. The Philadelphia Energy Authority has done great things to really boost Pennsylvania into being a really leader in solar energy. Before the creation of the Philadelphia Energy Authority as a municipal authority here in the city of Philadelphia, Pennsylvania really was one of the bottom states in reference to solar energy. Through the work of the Energy Authority and the Solarize Philly initiative, where we're bringing solar power to low-income Philadelphians all around our city, we've really made Pennsylvania a leader in solar energy, and also using the Solarize Philadelphia initiative to bring opportunities to young people to get into this industry in reference to not only having a job, but starting a career, and also hopefully becoming an entrepreneur in this new green collar job industry. So we need to do more work in reference to addressing the issue of climate change, so that way people of all faiths understand the importance of why we need to protect Mother Earth. So I want to thank you for all the advocacy that you're doing, especially as part of your bike and hike tour, and making sure you're letting members of the General Assembly know the importance of addressing climate change as they do their legislative activities in Harrisburg, and making sure we let people of all faiths know that we need to do all that we can to address climate change in order to move not only the city of Philadelphia forward, the Commonwealth of Pennsylvania, but also the United States and the globe, so we can reduce global warming and have a sustainable future. Thank you.
And we thank Councilmember Derek Green for his continued support. He's also been a part of our bike and hike trip for 2021 and supporting us for our advocacy days. So we're happy to have him again this year. And Councilmember Green mentioned a lot of great points and things he's tackling right now at the moment, to include the regional greenhouse gas initiative, which Pennsylvania was just, we're set, I should say, to enter the regional greenhouse gas initiative. And there's a fight ahead, but we are so thankful for the support from Governor Wolf and other state legislators who are making things happen and making sure that we are full-fledged a part of the regional greenhouse gas initiative, and that these industries are also following the standards that are within the regional greenhouse gas initiative. And just for some background on it, I wanted to share this short video.
I've been here 18 years, and I can say this is the worst of flooding I've seen here in the city of Philadelphia.
Those tornadoes and the flooding that also occurred proved to be deadly here in Montgomery County. 4 people, residents of the county, lost their lives. One of them was inside this home here.
East Market Street at Interstate 83, this major thoroughfare shut down tonight. The current is bashing the bottom of the bridge. It's going to go over the bridge anytime.
Thousands of people remain without power.
There has been a lot of damage. The home and most of the things in it were basically destroyed.
And I think Climate Reality and Clean Power Pennsylvania, for the video background on Reggie, there's more information on the Climate Reality's website where this video is from, and as well as YouTube. But as stated in the video, climate cannot wait. That's why we're continuing to advocate and tackle and support things like Reggie, environmental justice legislation in the state, as well as working with PGW and PUC, so that when it comes to budgeting, climate is included. So I thank State Rep Bullock, Councilmember Derek Green, for that support and all that they're doing, as well as others. And I'm gonna, next slide.
I've been here 18 years. I can say.
Okay, so I'm so happy to have Climate Action Pennsylvania, specifically Kaylee Murphy, and Mir Brock, I believe, that can join us to have a few remarks. Thank you guys so much. And I'm going to stop share just so we can be more, face to face, even though it's Zoom. But
yeah.
You know what I mean.
Absolutely. Well, Amani, thank you so much for being here. Amani has been working so hard with us to ensure that climate policies are pushed into fruition. And so we're just so happy to be here. Amir is going to be speaking a little bit after me. But I just wanted to say that, we're just happy that, all these videos show all the groundwork that we're doing, our close connections with the GreenMake affiliate of PEA, along with the community solar aspect. We actually know a colleague of ours who came to an event yesterday talking about how much he really wants to promote that. So there's a lot of things we have to do. And that's why I'm so excited to introduce Amir. He has been working closely with us as a field organizer in our program. And we're just happy to be here. So Amir, go ahead, you can take the way. And if your audio starts, acting up, just feel free to turn off your camera. And if not, I'll just step in and I'll do our little spiel.
Hi, good afternoon, everybody. I hope you guys saw me when I just did have my camera on. I wanted to turn it off just because I have been having some difficulty with my Wi-Fi. So I just wanted to, be able to talk this straight through. But, I am, as Kaylee said, a field organizer with Climate Action PA. Climate Action PA is a project of conservation voters of PA. And we push for bold changes to secure a brighter, more sustainable, and more equitable future. Our program's primary objectives are to advocate for environmental legislation, hold elected officials accountable, expand youth outreach, build community, and advance environmental justice by bringing together diverse communities to push for strong climate policies and projects. As Kaylee said, I am a field organizer with Climate Action PA. I'm also a master's student at Temple University. I am in there. My primary research focuses are actually sustainable development, environmental justice, and redevelopment. So we also would like to hear from you about what projects that you want to see in your community, the issues you care about, partnering with organizations, and how we can work together to further our common goals. I'm actually going to drop our Mobilize link in the chat right after this, so you guys can check out our Mobilize page, connect with the team, and check out our social media so you can get
Thank you so much, Amir and Kaylee, for all that you're doing and your support with climate and this work, and all that you're doing in Climate Action PA. And we're so grateful for you guys' support. Next, I wanted to have Terrell Hagler from Trash to Treasure nonprofit give a few remarks. Hi, Terrell, are you here with us? Sorry,
Yep,
I can't see you.
Hi,
Awesome.
how are you? How's everyone doing?
Doing well. Thank you so much for joining.
Thanks for having me.
Yeah, sorry.
No, go ahead.
Yeah, we thank you so much for joining. I know you came in a little late, but we're keeping this conversation on sustainable health and development, and I know that you're doing a lot of work in the city and even broader in that conversation, and we'd love to know more about Trash to Treasure as well.
Yeah, so Trash to Treasure is my nonprofit to the for-profit, which is called Your Fave Trash Man. And if anybody's on Instagram, to make a long story short, I was a former sanitation worker for the Philadelphia Streets Department. And in the middle of the pandemic, I started an Instagram called Your Fave Trash Man. And my first post was June 17th, 2020. And I was just advocating for sanitation workers, trying to raise awareness of what we were going through on the day-to-day operation. And I like to tell people I accidentally went viral. By September 2020, I found myself on the Kelly Clarkson Show, Worldwide News with David Muir, Good Morning America, the front page of the Enquirer, and even the following July, I found myself at the White House by special invite of President Biden. So I created my nonprofit to handle all of my community advancement. So expungement clinics, community cleanups, food drives, financial literacy, first-time homebuyer seminars. But the thing that we do the most is community cleanups. I've organized and executed 80 community cleanups in the last 2 years, and I've picked up over 300 tons of trash in Philadelphia. So I really pride myself, and my nonprofit on making sure that all communities look the same. So a slogan that we say is, no matter your zip code, you deserve to live on a clean block. Here in Philadelphia, there's a huge disparity in zip codes where if you live in the Northeast or downtown, your trash get picked up on time, and you barely have litter on the ground. But if you live in North Philly, West Philly, Southwest Philly, parts of South Philly, your trash may get picked up 3 days late. There's litter everywhere. People come into your neighborhood and illegally dump. So I use my nonprofit to bridge that gap and fill in the gray areas around the disparity and the inequality of just illegal dumping and litter here in Philadelphia. We also work really closely with City Council, trying to create legislation and bills to combat the injustice that's basically environmental racism that we experience here in Philadelphia. I do a lot of other things. I just wrote a children's book. I have a construction and hauling company. I'm a social media influencer, but my pride and joy is to be able to organize cleanups in all parts of the city, and get there at 9 o'clock in the morning with a pile that seems unattainable. And then at the end of the day, we've picked up 10 tons, and the community now can have a block party because all the trash is up. So that's just a little bit about what I do.
So much, Terrell. Thank you firstly for everything that you're doing in the city and continue to do to beautify the city and advocate. We really appreciate you taking the time to come here. And if you don't mind, we'd love to have some of your information, like your website and contact info, if you want to put that in the chat if you have.
Sure, I'll say and put it in the chat. So my website is yourfavetrashman.com. And that you can get all the information you need. You can sign up for my email list. You can go and purchase my children's book. I'm using my children's book to raise money for Philadelphia public schools. So $5 of every book sale goes back to the Philadelphia public school. And then my Instagram, which I'm also known as Your Fave Trash Man on Instagram. And it's the same thing on Twitter, LinkedIn, Facebook, TikTok. Don't have high expectations for my TikTok. I'm working on it. But yeah, that is me. I am him, the Fave Trash Man. I run all my social media. So if you DM me, it really will be me responding. And I just look forward, and I love collaborating with other nonprofits doing dope things. I say all the time that you don't have to do it alone. It's stronger together. If everybody does it together, it's definitely more of an impact. So please feel free to reach out to me if you have an idea, if you want to organize a cleanup. I always have a DJ. I give out food at every cleanup because I think it's all about giving these communities resources.
Absolutely. Thank you so much, Terrell. Really appreciate it. And thank you for coming out once again. And I see that we have Senator Sewell on the call. Thank you so much, Senator Sewell, for joining us. Yeah, really appreciate you taking the time out. We're focusing this on sustainable health and development, and Pennsylvania Interfaith Power and Light has a monthly bike ride, bike and hike that's going on right now, Journey Towards a Cleaner Future. We know you're doing a lot right now for the city and states, to include the whole home repairs, and you have a rally coming up on the 24th. We'd love to know more about that and the work that you're doing.
Awesome. Yeah, thank you so much for having me. It's a real pleasure to be here. So happy to talk about all these things. So again, I'm Nikhil, and it is my honor to represent the people and communities of the 1st Senatorial District. That's Kensington at the northern end, down to the airport at the southwestern end. And it's between both rivers, the Delaware and the Schuylkill. So it's just a large swath of the city right at the heart. So just want to acknowledge today's event, the bike and hike advocacy today. I forgive my kind of informal appearance. I was just celebrating Bike to Work and Wherever Day with the Bicycle Coalition and with a number of city council members. And, you know, I often say that housing is a human right, but freedom of movement is also a human right. And like so many of these rights, these are entwined, you know, insofar as we often invoke them because they are broached, right? Or they're violated rather. And so I just want to, you know, I want to work to enshrine all of those rights for everyone so that we don't have to talk about them in a way. We just observe, they just exist as rights that are guaranteed. So I'm really grateful for the chance to be here with all of you. So as you mentioned, right now, we are gearing up for work on the budget. We have and to pass the Whole Home Repairs Act within that budget. Pennsylvania has a historic surplus of nearly $10 billion. And on the back of 2 years of incredible hardship that came through this pandemic, and on the back of decades of disinvestment in all of our communities from all levels of government, now is the time to take this surplus and invest in the people. It is our money, right? And so let's invest it back in our communities. And so specifically, I mentioned I'm fighting for passing the Whole Home Repairs Act, which is a bipartisan bill. It has bipartisan support in the Pennsylvania Senate, and also it has bipartisan support in the House, where the House version is introduced by Sarah Innamorato from Pittsburgh and Rick Krajewski from Philadelphia. It creates a one-stop shop for home repairs and weatherization, while also building out our workforce and adding new jobs in a growing field. It is the first of its kind in the nation, and it will make it so that Pennsylvanians can stay warm, safe, and dry in homes that they can afford. We've been working on it for a year, almost a year. We opened in December 2020, and even before we opened, we knew that a lot of the work that we needed to do was around the housing crisis. I've hosted 3 policy hearings in the Senate where we work to ensure the voices and experiences of Pennsylvania residents. Many people testified to the fact that their homes were unsafe, whether they were renters or homeowners. In a bunch of instances, residents shared that they had nowhere to turn, not just because they had their own issues in their homes, but their family members had issues in their homes, so they couldn't even kind of leave an unsafe home to go because they would have to go to another unsafe home. And some of those issues included lead paint, a lack of adequate heat, water damage, leaky roofs, which also causes mold. Being unable to adapt to your home because you're changing physical needs, and also the high cost of energy bills. Low-income households in Philadelphia spend about 23% of their income just on utilities. It's not even including rent. 75% of low to moderate income households that try to apply for home repair loans, conventional loans, are denied for those loans. Philly isn't unique. It isn't an urban issue or a suburban issue or a rural issue. It transcends geography. And it is an issue that transcends what party you belong to. Across the Commonwealth, there are hundreds of thousands of homes that have major issues such as leaky roofs or windows, blown fuses or exposed wiring, unreliable heat, even a lack of a flushing toilet. And right now there is no statewide structure that can respond to the magnitude of this need. And then, one thing that we should note is that our Commonwealth is getting hotter and wetter each year. And the extreme weather is exacerbating the ongoing deterioration of our homes. In other words, our housing crisis and our climate crisis are tied together. We've had countless meetings, our office, with housing and energy efficiency advocates, community organizations, and their input, in addition to the personal testimony of Pennsylvanians, has given shape to this bill, the Whole Home Repairs Act. It has currently all 20 Democratic senators as co-sponsors, and also 4 Republicans, Pat Brown of Lehigh, who's the majority chair of the Appropriations Committee, David Argel of Schuylkill and Berks counties, Dan Laughlin from Erie, and Elder Vogel Jr. of Southwestern Pennsylvania, Beaver, Butler, and Lawrence counties. So what the Whole Home Repairs Act does is it gives you up to $50,000 to fix your home. It will make sure you have an advocate who will not only help you access those repairs, but all the other support you can get. And finally, it creates local jobs and boosts training programs by providing stipends to trainees. So it will help people get through training programs so that they can get into the home repair workforce. All of this means that we can fight housing scarcity and unaffordability, displacement and instability, and the deterioration of our homes. And it can fill the gaps in our system to prevent Pennsylvania residents from being displaced, to prevent this cycle of abandonment and displacement that we see across the state. The fight for affordable utility bills, the fight for safe communities, the fight for housing security, and the fight for equity and justice are all the same fight. And I think the Whole Home Repairs Act is how we come out swinging. I just want to note again that the bill was written by my office, but it comes from residents across Pennsylvania, from community groups, housing advocates, energy advocates, and impacted residents. This bill is truly written by the people because our housing is in crisis, and people are advocating for solutions, transformational solutions of this kind. We can and we will repair our homes, strengthen our communities, and put people to work while we do it. So I'm really grateful for the chance to be here. I know many of you are entrenched in this struggle as well, and Pennsylvania can be a leader. We can fix our homes. We can fight the climate while doing it. Fight the climate crisis while doing it. So thank you so much. I just want to mention, as you said, there is a rally this coming Tuesday, May 24th at 10:45 in the morning on the front steps of the Pennsylvania Capitol. You can also support this bill by becoming a community co-sponsor. You can sign on our website, and I can put that in the chat, which would help demonstrate broad appeal and generate the political will to pass this bill. And finally, write to your state senator and your state representative if they haven't signed on to this bill. All the senators in Philadelphia have, but you can also thank them for their support and ensure that they fight for this in this current budget cycle. So that's what the work that we're doing, and I'm grateful to be here. Thank you for having me.
Thank you so much, Senator Sabal, and thank you for all you're doing for our state, to include the Whole Home Repairs. I wanted to know if anyone had any questions for the senator. Please feel free to unmute yourselves.
I have a question. I always have to read the news and what's going on. And I saw that Philadelphia got 1,000 new homes. Was that something that you worked on with other council members by chance?
No, so I wish I could be part. I was part of that effort, but no, we. Although I'm certainly supportive of it, I think it's workforce housing has been done by City Council. I think you're referring to something that Daryl Clark, the council president, is helping leading the effort on. I forget the name of the effort, but that's been done through the city. But our work is really complementary to that. I would say, we would want to make it so it would be less new housing than kind of maintaining our existing housing that we have, some of which is in danger of being lost, right? So we have a real danger of losing our, some affordable apartments because your landlord sells your building to a private equity speculator. We have people who might lose their homes, or they sell their homes to another speculator who's blowing up their phone, offering $60,000 or $70,000 for their home, far less than it's worth, just because they can't afford the repairs, or don't have a working heater. So these are all the ways that I think we would be complementary to that effort, preserving housing, and as well as the city is trying to produce new housing. And that's something that we want to work on as well in future sessions, is try to find ways to produce new affordable housing as well.
Awesome. Thank you so much. I appreciate it. This is so great.
Thank you. Thanks for having me.
Yes, thank you so much, Senator, for your time. And once again, all the amazing, incredible work you're doing. If no one else has any questions, Senator, I know you probably have a lot to do. You have an amazing day. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Thanks for having me.
Yeah, well, that was amazing. As you guys know, Pennsylvania Interfaith Power and Light is 100% in support of the whole home repairs. And we'll actually have some representatives at the rally, which is amazing. Another initiative you can take for the whole home repairs is writing a thank you postcard to the governor. I have some of that, yeah, and then thank you, Senator, for dropping those links in the chat. I believe that information for the postcards is also on the website if you guys are interested, and taking some action with the whole home repairs. And if you guys can join on the 24th, that is amazing as well. And on that note, I wanted to know if anyone had any questions at all. This will be part one, I should say, of a larger event we're going to have in the summer, where hopefully we'll have a lot more representatives and faith leaders involved. So we hope you can join us. Any questions? Okay. Well, thank you so much, Kaylee. Thank you, Amir. Thank you, Terrell. Everyone, Seth, Cindy, Danielle, thank you all so much for joining today. I'm not going to take up too much more of your Friday. I hope you guys have a wonderful weekend. And if you have any questions, you can definitely follow up with me. But thank you guys so much.
Thank you so much, Monty, for having us. And it was great to see everybody.
Thank you, everybody.